Hi, everybody. How are you all? Welcome back and thank you for giving me your time and attention. You may find it strange, but I was rather saddened to hear that Ivana Trump had passed away. I always found her rather funny and honest, and therefore I liked her. My condolences goes to anybody and everybody else who were touched by her death, and that includes, and in particular, her family. Well, everybody and his mate is talking about Tom Bauer's book, and I see the Royal Grift is already doing reviews on the excerpts, so I'm not going to do that. She has a lovely reading voice, so if you have not read the excerpts yourselves, then you can go listen to it over on her channel. However, I do want to talk to you about these excerpts and what I am taking away from it. But before I do, I just quickly want to give you a little background on Tom Bauer, the author, as I think it is rather important. Tom Michael Bauer is 76 years old. He was born from Jewish parents who fled Prague after the German occupation in 1936. His parents married in London and Tom was born there. Tom Bauer went on to study law and worked as a barrister for the National Council of Civil Liberties. In 1970, Tom Bauer joined the BBC as a researcher for the program 24 Hours before becoming a reporter on Panorama. He then produced Panorama from 1975 until 1987, and he left the BBC in 1995. He is married to Veronica Wadley, former editor of the London Evening Standard. Tom has written a number of books and biographies such as The Intimate Life of Simon Cowell, Tony Blair, The Tragedy of Power, Branson Unmasked, and much more. So suffice it to say, Tom Bowers is not only an experienced journalist, but he is also a legal man. And we can therefore be relatively sure that whatever is in this book will be as close to the truth as anyone will likely ever get, or at least what is in the book will be likely true. So, for one thing, this book will, at the very least, dispel some of the petty arguments which had been raging all over the internet. And so far, I am gloating just a little, because among the few myths or stories which had been dispelled so far is the fact that Meghan did have tea with Harry and the Queen on the 14th of April, and that she was not left out in the corridor. I told you so. My common sense told me this did not happen, that the Queen would follow protocol, that the Queen would think it would be bad manners, and that the Queen would not lower herself to that standard. Remember, the Queen met people she didn't like all her life. However, then my friend's friend, who really works for the royals, confirmed that they both saw the Queen on their way to The Hague. Okay, and now it's confirmed in the book. So this is one lie on the part of social media, the media, or the people. Okay, so one for the scoreboard. So that is what I'm going to do. Instead of reviewing this book for you, I'm going to do my best to keep score of the number of times Meghan Markle and Harry had lied versus how many times the media or someone else had lied to claim, say, 5 minutes of fame or attention. Okay, and I will be fair. However, unfortunately for them, Harry and Meghan are basically already losing the game with more lies on their side of the scoreboard than on the other side just from this first excerpt. But we'll give them the one about the tea for now, okay? They both had tea with the Queen, someone else told a lie, and social media ran with it. Okay, one score on the other side of the board. Okay, moving on. The first excerpt I read concerned Prince Philip's funeral and the aftermath. I think there are a few hidden messages in that one for us. Firstly, there was no 2 hour discussion after the funeral between Charles, William, and Harry. They spoke briefly before everyone departed and went their own way. Harry, as we know, was in a rush to get back to the United States, and as we also know, did not even bother to stay for his grandmother's real birthday on the 21st of April. Charles drove to his cottage at Brecon Beacons in Wales. Now, we know Harry rushed back to California either because he was still busy recording The Me You Can't See with Oprah, in which he trashed his entire family, including the Queen and his country. Alternatively, he was perhaps feeling guilty knowing what was coming and could not stand having to face his family members. Or, of course, Meghan may have been demanding that he return as soon as possible. Who knows and who cares? Certainly not me. What is so very obvious to me from this passage is how much alike Charles and Harry are. Both of them basically ran off to go mourn or sulk or lick their wounds, whatever they were doing. Now, I'm not saying neither or either of them did not mourn the death of Prince Philip. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about the way they were handling it, okay? Whatever they were doing without a thought of everyone else who were also sad and also hurt and who still had to deal with everything else. Being there for the Queen, their mother and grandmother, the press, and winding up of Prince Philip's estate. Neither Charles nor Harry cared about any of that. It was all about them, their feelings, their mini drama, which they created around Prince Philip's death and funeral. It is said that William was left to, in Bower's words, rescue the monarchy from the damage caused by his brother and uncle Andrew. And of course, like I just said, his frail, grieving grandma, the press, and paperwork, because poor Charlie and Harry were too devastated to do anything. Thank goodness for the Wessexes, as I know that the Queen also relied heavily on Sophie during the Duke's illness and his passing. Okay, now the excerpt goes on to basically explain what we already know or assumed, but it is nonetheless good to have it factually confirmed. Harry and Meghan organized a Lilibet website before she was even born. Bowers confirmed that Harry called the Queen after Lilibet was born, informed her that, or as Bowers put it, told the Queen of their decision to call their child by her nickname. What is, and I think should be very significant, is that Bowers refers to Lily as Harry's daughter Not Harry and Meghan's daughter, but Harry's daughter. Remember what I told you? Bauer was a barrister and long-time investigative journalist, and who will use words to send messages without anyone being able to sue him. Bauer also explained that the Harkles threatened to sue the BBC for saying they did not ask Her Majesty the Queen's permission. However, when the palace backed the BBC on that particular issue, the Harkles and their lawyers retreated. So yes, we need no longer wonder or argue about that either. The Harkles lied. They did not ask the Queen's permission. They informed her after Harry's daughter was born, and it was likely already too late. So another one for the scoreboard, another lie for the Harkles. Then this first excerpt goes on to speak about Harry and Meghan's visit to the Queen before moving on to The Hague. Now, we have discussed this now numerous times, and I'm so taken up with it that I've mentioned it a couple of times over and over, sorry. And all I'm going to say is what I said in the beginning. They had tea with the Queen, but Tom Bowers alludes to the fact that the main reason for their visit to the Queen was to discuss their role in the upcoming Jubilee, in particular, their public appearances, among which their appearance on the balcony. But they walked away with nothing, no promises, and I agree with Tom Bauer, that was likely why Harry made those remarks during his interview in The Hague. Of course, Harry's interview contained lie after lie after lie, but I'm not going to add it to the scoreboard as separate lies, as it was not really a joint lie of the Harkles. Remember, Meghan had already left The Hague when Harry did that interview, and although I believe she had a hand in it, we weren't there and we can't prove it. So I'm just going to put 1 point on the scoreboard as being a lie coming from the Harkles. However, I may devise a more complicated scoreboard later when I'm actually reading the book myself. So for now, I'm just adding one more lie for the Harkles. We have also talked about this interview already and the load of rubbish that came out of Harry's mouth. Of course, this interview gave us a glimpse into just how breathtakingly arrogant Harry is. And quoting from the book, there are no bounds to his self-delusion. Okay, when I look at the excerpt as a whole, there are a couple of lines which to me points to the very same thing. And I'm going to quote Harry's words or words from the book directly. In the Me You Can't See interview, Harry said of his family, I've seen behind the curtain. I have seen the business model. I know how this operation runs. I don't want to be part of this. Then in his interview in The Hague, he said that the United States is now his home. So this is now the umpteenth time Harry has said out loud in public that he does not want to be a royal or part of the monarchy. And I've done videos on this before with clips where he said the same thing, just in other words. So, why on earth does he not surrender his titles? Or alternatively, when will the royal family and the British government give him what he's asking for and take his titles away? Okay, guys, I read the other excerpts, but I have to keep this shortish until we have more stable electricity and internet, which will hopefully be soon. We'll see what the new week brings. But I'll be back tomorrow with my opinion and my scoreboard on the other excerpts and a couple of other things, okay? Because I'm not going to stick to just the book for now, okay? I'll wait until I get the book myself. So until then, please take good care of yourselves. Until we meet again on the next one. Bye.